Hi everyone, my name is Naomi Hartl and I'm the STEM and Science subject matter expert for School Specialty. I'm jumping back on here again just to share a couple more quick tips for you because we know that some districts are starting to move towards that distance learning or remote learning. And what does that mean for you as an educator? What does that look like? What are some things that you can do to take all of that work that you prepared for face-to-face learning with your students and now transferring that to that digital or online learning environment? So I have a couple quick tips to just kind of get you started and just some things to think about as you transition through this process. So tip number one, start small. Honestly, baby steps. We tend to get overwhelmed when our daily routines are disrupted. So try to choose one thing to start with and to implement. I mean, your students will be overwhelmed. Everybody's in this new transition and this new phase of how are we going to make this work when we're all from home? Everybody's crammed in a house together in an apartment or wherever it is. So we want to avoid overloading our students and parents by asking them to download a ton of new different applications or platforms. We want to try and make this as simple as possible. We also want to avoid overloading ourselves. Don't try and do it all at once. Pick one thing and implement it slowly. I plan on doing a couple more videos that are going to talk about platform tools, communication tools, assessment tools, instruction tools that you can use that will be an easy transition that can kind of all implement together. So stay tuned for those, but maybe just direct your students and families to your webpage or your school webpage or a Facebook page that your school might have where you can upload maybe videos or different things like that. If you want to do like a Facebook live streaming or share a lesson that your students and families can follow along with, pick just one thing to start with and go from there. So tip number two, start by emphasizing the learning and concentrating less on grades. It's going to be a little bit to try and figure out how to do that assessment piece. So adjust your expectations of your students and families right now and just be flexible with different deadlines that you give. We're just learning how to, figure out this process. So there's going to be mistakes that are happening. There's going to be, deadlines that haven't been met, but we have to just be patient with each other. We want our families to get into that routine, and they've really only had maybe a week or so to kind of figure that out right now. So let's give them some time. Some of the assessments we can worry about later on, so let's not stress ourselves out. So just really emphasize that learning piece and really just kind of doing things together as a family if possible. And then tip number three, direct families towards free and readily available tools for all abilities and backgrounds. What do we do if families don't have access to the internet? That's a big problem, especially if we're moving to that online or digital learning piece. So an option actually that I've seen that I wanted to share with you all is that some districts are actually renting out those Wi-Fi hotspots and sending those home to families or having them at the school. Families can come pick them up. Another thing that we're seeing too is that some districts are sending home like the laptops or Chromebooks or computers or tablets or whatever it is that the devices that they have to families that need it. They're not just giving it out to every student, but just to the families that need that support. There's also, I was doing some research on this, and there's some internet companies like Charter Spectrum who are providing free internet and services for families in need, or others like Comcast and CenturyLink that are suspending their data caps. So it doesn't matter how much data you use kind of over this next transition and phase. So there's a lot of people out there that are trying to support families and students in need and just kind of to help figure out this whole process and this new transition. So those are my three quick tips. Number one, just start small, start slow, pick one thing and focus on that. Number two was just emphasize that learning. Don't worry about that assessment piece for right now. We'll get that figured out. And then three, just find those tools that are available for everybody. Online learning is tough. So how can we support students and families that don't have access to the internet? So that being said, in upcoming videos, I'm going to talk about some more tools. I just wanted to share these couple quick tips with you right now and try and get you started. Drop your name and some comments in the comment box. Let me know what you're doing to try and transition through this phase to online and digital learning and how are you taking your face-to-face lessons and programs that you've created and turning it into that digital environment. So let us know. We'll be back with a couple more tools and quick tips. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll talk soon.